Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Morning, everyone. Ray Flowers at FantasyGuru.com. Hopefully this Sunday morning, I don't even know what date it is. Monday morning. I just looked down and realized I'm wearing my green sweatshirt that's kind of interacting with my green screen, so I look a little fuzzy. But we're going forward, folks. It's too late to change it. We're plowing ahead. It is Monday here as we start the month of September. Let me try this again. November? I'm having all kinds of problems. I didn't even drink last night. I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Welcome to the show, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Fantasy Sports Daily. We're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days a week, about 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We go about an hour each day. Tuesday through Friday, we always have a guest on from FantasyGuru.com. On Mondays today, it's just me. And I will spend the next hour rambling on about what we got to talk about, which is obviously Sunday football in the NFL. We'll go game by game. We'll see what injuries happened. We get just an update on Tucker Kraft here a few minutes ago. Not good news. ACL is torn. Season is over. But we'll go game by game. What popped, what didn't pop, what happened, what didn't happen. What do you need to know as you kind of review things, get ready for Monday Night Football? That's the plan on Mondays. I just ramble on by myself for about an hour discussing what you need to know game by game. Don't forget, there is still time to go to FantasyGuru.com. And yes, by the way, if you're watching this, I'm going for Halloween for one more day. Hopefully you're all right with that with our background. There's still a deal over at FantasyGuru.com. The Ghost 20 deal is gone. That ended. But you can still get all the football product for one price. Sign up right now. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner at FG. Get signed up. Send an email to support@FantasyGuru.com. If you do that, you get all of our football coverage, college football and NFL. All of our seasonal coverage, all of our DFS coverage, all of our betting coverage, all three packages that are normally sold separately for hundreds of dollars. I think it's actually $600 for all three packages. Get it now for about $160. Send a note to support@FantasyGuru.com. That email, support@FantasyGuru.com. If you get any questions, don't forget, and I'll throw it up on the screen right now too, we have the MVP plan over at FantasyGuru.com. That's basically everything other than football and baseball. That's rocking and rolling right now. We got hockey going. We got basketball going. NASCAR, PGA, MMA, horse racing, golf, all of that over at FantasyGuru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Before we get into football, Chris D said, what a fantastic World Series. It was fantastic. Absolutely. I was trying to watch a movie the other night. Couldn't, because Game 7 just kept going. But yeah, what a series. A lot of people calling it one of the best ever. It had a lot. I mean, we'll talk. I don't know how much we'll talk about here on the show, but not today. But the bottom line is the Dodgers used 4 starting pitchers in Game 7. It's the way of the world. They had I don't even remember, like $1.2 billion invested in the 4 players. Game's different than it used to be. Game 7 used to be Oral Hershiser and Bob Gibson. Now we got 4 starting pitchers in one game. Pretty crazy. Morning to everybody. Angelo, Docness, Fantasy Arnold. Welcome everybody to the show. Remember, tell a friend, all that kind of good stuff about what we are doing here on the show. So let's dive into it. You can see it there on the screen. There's actually 5 very simple ways to consume the show. 1, type in Fantasy Sports Daily wherever you listen to podcasts. You should be able to find us. Go to FantasyGuru.com at the top of the page at the website. There's a toolbar there and it says Elite Plus. Click on that. You can find all the old shows. The third, which is actually 3 spots. All the 3 spots you can watch on demand or live, either way. And if you're watching live, you can, as we're going through the show here, leave comments and questions that we can address throughout the show. YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork. Twitter X @FantasyGuru site, and Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. All right, let's get into it here. We'll start out. You can see there on the screen. We'll go game by game. We'll start off with that game between the Bears and the Bengals. And wow, 99 points scored in what a game. This one was wild. The Bears looked like they had it won. They looked like they had a pick six, 90-yard pick six by Edmonds. That got overturned on a penalty. Then there was turnovers, and the Bengals came back. Then the Bears had to come back. I mean, it was pure insanity. It was 31-17 when the fourth quarter started. Remember, the final score was 47-42. On the Bears side of things, obviously, Julius Pepperwood was out of this game. Kyle Monangai went nuts. He had a couple of catches, 3 catches, had almost 200 yards from scrimmage, 198 scrimmage yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but he had a masterful game there for those folks that turned to him. Caleb Williams had 3 touchdown passes. Caleb Williams, we've talked about him a lot at FG here on the show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Don't forget the Jeff Mann show, the Elite Sports Show. It's Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm doing for an hour here what Jeff will do for 3 hours on his show today. Caleb Williams, we've talked about a lot, and it's like, Caleb Williams, by the way, threw for 280 and 3, ran for 53 yards, and caught 2 passes for 22 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. I don't know. Everyone was on the broadcast, the Bears offense, and the trickeration. If you got to do trickeration to score, how good is your offense? Anyway, Caleb Williams had this massive fantasy game. He still, if you watch this game, he turns his back on the defense all the time. We used to talk about this a lot with Kyler Murray. You don't want to turn your back on their defense, meaning as a right-handed guy, if you flush yourself out of the pocket, you turn to your left, right? As a right-handed quarterback, you don't turn use your back to the defense. He does it all the time, like all the time. He's constantly running around in the pocket. He's constantly trying to extend plays. I don't know if his processing is slow or what. Numbers were great yesterday, but just got to clean that part of his game up. Colson Loveland had 6 for 118 and 2 as the second touchdown that won the game. 2 defenders ran into each other, let him rumble down the sidelines, down the center of the field, excuse me. He's an interesting player as a potential pickup. Cole Kmet injured yet again, this time a head injury. Realize, though, that Loveland is not going to go for 58-yard touchdowns very often. Still only saw 7 targets, so it wasn't a huge part of this offense. DJ Moore, 72 yards receiving. He threw a touchdown pass to Caleb Williams. There you go. There was Olamide Zacchaeus, 6 catches and a touchdown. Rome Odunze played 80 snaps and had no catches. Brutal. Still fire up Rome Odunze. He's still their number 1, but that was just awful. On the other side of things, Sanjay Perine got hurt really early, so Chase Brown basically played every snap for the game. He didn't do anything on the ground, only had 37 yards, but he had 8 catches for 75 yards, so a huge boost there. What would that have looked like if Perine was healthy? Well, Perine was out there on the first series, if I'm not mistaken. So, but for now, Chase Brown lives to fight another day. The big story, obviously, was Joe Flacco, 470 yards, 4 touchdowns, playing through the shoulder injury. It was most yards he's ever thrown for, 470 and 4. Oddly, Jamar Chase, 6 for 111, didn't get in the end zone. Still had a great game, didn't get in the end zone. Andre Yosavash, who I've had in Scott Fishbowl all season long. I think I dropped him last week, and of course, then he goes for 566 and a touchdown. And we had T. Higgins get hurt late. T. Higgins is soft as tissue paper. He had a massive game, 7, 121 and 2. There is a bye week here, so we'll see. But left yet another game with injury. But his performance on the field was masterful. Noah Fant also had a touchdown for those people that went a little off the reservation. I think we talked about Noah Fant on this show, right? I picked him up in one league. Scored a touchdown yesterday. The Vikings defeated the Lions 27-24. Vikings are 4-4. The Lions are 5-3. That division is getting really tight there. Starting to bunch up. Aaron Jones looked really good. 9 carries for 78 yards. Had a couple of catches for 20 yards. That's 11 touches for 98 scrimmage yards. Hurt his shoulder. We're hearing early reports that he should be able to play in Week 10 and should be okay. Something to keep an eye on. Jordan Mason took up all the snaps late. Didn't do anything. 11 touches, 37 yards. Jones is the guy to get excited about in the fantasy space if he can stay healthy. On the passing side of things, J.J. McCarthy, they won the game. He threw for 2 touchdowns, and he ran for another. He also threw for 143 yards. Only attempted 25 passes. They're really trying to button things down with him. Justin Jefferson said 6 catches and a touchdown, which is great. 47 yards. He finally gets in the end zone, and then the yardage collapses. Jordan Addison, 2 catches for 48 yards, led the team in receiving yards. Hawkinson scored a touchdown, but caught 2 balls for 11 yards. J.J. McCarthy needs to get going. That's 3 games of McCarthy now. And again, he scored 3 touchdowns yesterday. But in 3 games as the quarterback of this team, the offense really hasn't done anything. So really, we're still starting Aaron Jones, in most leagues. We're still starting Jefferson in every league. Addison and Hawkinson, probably in 3 wide receiver, leagues and tight end leagues. But Really like to see him get going. Double A, double S. Yeah, that Higgins catch was nuts. For those who didn't see it down the left sideline, he jumped over defender, snared it. Played a great game. I just, again, I'm frustrated. He's always leaving games with injuries. But yeah, he has scored in 9 consecutive home games, and only 2 other receivers in NFL history have done that. T. Higgins scored twice yesterday. On the Lions side of things in this loss to the Vikings, Jared Goff went for 284 and 2, which is, a good game for Jared Goff, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 for 97, did his thing. Sam Laporta had 6 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. Now, I think like 3 catches and 60 yards were on the first drive, including the touchdown. So he didn't do anything after the first quarter, really, but still had a nice game. Jamison Williams had a touchdown, great diving play to get in the end zone, 4 for 66 and a touchdown, finally doing something because he was going out there and, producing 15 yards. The real story to me is that David Montgomery got in the end zone, but Jahmyr Gibbs is disappearing from this offense far too much. He's still been obviously fine and strong and a good performer in the fantasy space. But yesterday he had, 12 touches for 28 yards? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we... So he's, again, his numbers are great, and I'm sure he'll be fine moving forward, but that's disappointing. Montgomery got in the end zone even though he fumbled. But Jahmyr Gibbs, you're going to lose football games if Jahmyr Gibbs has 38 yards of offense. Or what was it? 28 yards of offense, excuse me. You're going to lose games if you did that. I mean, I can almost guarantee you next game out, Jahmyr Gibbs is getting 20 touches, right? So keep that in mind if you have Jahmyr Gibbs on your team. Packers are a really good team. They somehow lost 16-14 to the Panthers yesterday at home. Oof. Not good. Now the Panthers finally committed to Rico Dowdle. We finally got the answer. The coach speak was trending toward this being a reality. We finally saw the reality come to fruition yesterday. Chuba Hubbard only touched the ball 5 times. We had 25 carries and 2 receptions for Dowdle. That's 27-5 in terms of the touch count. Dowdle looked good, got in the end zone twice. Clearly the more effective, more powerful runner. Did it yet again. He was the entirety of the offense for the Panthers. Bryce Young threw for 102 yards. Ted McMillan's still soldiering on, and more power to this guy. 4 for 46. He keeps giving you 10, 12 points each week. Never doing anything big. He's a usable wide receiver 3, but this offense is just not good through the air. But they can run the football, and Dowdle took over the backfield. So those people that spent a lot of money on Dowdle, I think it was a very unwise choice at the time. I saw someone in one of my leagues spend like 96% of their budget to add Dowdle. Seemed utterly foolish to me. I still think it's foolish, but he looks like an every week starter right now, period. Matchup proof. Rico Dowdle trending in the right direction. On the Packers side of things, I mentioned this earlier right at the start of the show. It has indeed been reported officially. Tucker Kraft has torn his ACL. The season is over. Luke Musgrave will be the guy that stepped up. He had caught 3 balls yesterday. He'll be part of this offense, but Musgrave is not anywhere near as athletic as Kraft, and he won't be utilized as heavily as Kraft. So Musgrave is a streaming tight end. Whoopie-doo. Dontavian Wicks wasn't out there yesterday. Jaden Reed wasn't out there yesterday as we continue to deal with this. Matthew Golden got beat up yesterday. And this is another example. I mean, the Packers scored 13 points, and they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys to catch passes. How the hell do 10 guys catch passes when you score 13 points? Like, they really need to establish. They just won't establish people, and that's fine. That's why they're a difficult team to face. I get that, but it's also a problem. Jordan Love, 273, 0-1. Whoopie-doo. Romeo Doubs got 7 balls for 98 yards. Christian Watson had 2 for 58. Those are only 2 guys on the team that had 35 yards. And again, that's what happens when you throw the ball to everyone on your team. What's going to happen when Wicks and Reed are out there? It's going to get any clearer. Josh Jacobs, he's toughing it out. He's not 100%, but he's toughing it out. He got in the end zone yet again. Caught 4 more passes. He continues to be as Jeff Manza said many times, he is the offense. He is the heart of this team. It's not Love. It's not any of the receivers. It is Josh Jacobs. If he goes down, as good as Wilson has looked in spurts, if he goes down, that's problematic. Denver defeated Houston 18-15. Woo! What a barn burner. 2 good defenses here, though. Obviously, held the 2 teams down. The Broncos yet again. I mean, they got the fourth quarter magic. They went into the fourth quarter down 7-15. They had a touchdown pass to Harvey, the Lutz winning field goal as time expired. They moved to 7-2. The Texans fall to 3-5. Denver's got the magic right now, but you can't play like ass for 3 quarters every week and win in the fourth quarter. It just doesn't work long term. That's what they're doing now, but it doesn't work long term. J.K. Dobbins, for the 4th consecutive game, had either 14 or 15 carries, 15 carries for 61 yards. He's run for 60 yards in all but one game this year. You know what you're getting from him. The exciting news is R.J. Harvey, who, 7 touches, 56 yards, but he led the team in receptions. He led the team in receiving yards, and he had a receiving score. The 3rd consecutive game that Harvey has scored as a receiver. Now it's 5 for 51 and a touchdown. He's still playing like 20 snaps. He's still not on the field a lot. But the fact is, he's obviously an integral part of this offense now. They utilize him. No more of this Beatty, Jaleel McLaughlin nonsense. Beatty did catch a couple of passes, but it's the passing receiving back now is Harvey as it should be. And he's really establishing himself as somebody you can turn to as a flex option, even if the overall volume and snap count is a little troubling. Sutton got in the end zone great because he caught 1 ball. Troy Franklin saw 10 targets. That's like 28 targets in 3 games. Massive target totals for him the last 3 games. 4 catches for 27 yards. Like, Bo Nix did not play a good football game yesterday. Again, they won late and everything worked out. And okay, that's good for him. And this offense, there are moments, including, fourth quarters where they wake up, but can't sleepwalk through 3 quarters. Just not a winning strategy long term. On the other side of things, obviously the big storyline for the Texans is the health of C.J. Stroud. And I understand these things happen in seconds, right? Like, it's a reaction. Who knows if you're running at a guy full speed. If you don't run at a guy full speed to tackle him, you're not going to tackle him. You can't run at him at 2/3 speed. It doesn't work in the NFL. So I get it. And it's almost impossible at the last second to pull up. I totally get it. But the NFL has to do away with this. C.J. Stroud gives himself up, slides, and gets absolutely annihilated on a hit. Absolutely annihilated. It's terrible for the game. It doesn't do any good to encourage players to slide, quarterbacks especially, right? To slide and take care of themselves. The defenders are just going to blow them up. Now, the good news is after the game, there were some videos posted by C.J. Stroud's mother that appeared to show C.J. was okay. He went off the field waving. So hopefully he'll be back in action next time out for the Texans. Davis Mills stepped up and played a pretty good game. Now, they didn't win, but he didn't turn the ball over, 17 for 30, moved the offense, got guys involved. So, that's what a capable NFL backup quarterback can do for you, keep you in the game. Chubb and Marks did nothing on the ground. The pass catchers, Nico Collins caught 7 for 75, which is totally fine given how the game played out. 6 for 77 for Dalton Schultz, totally fine for him. In fact, very good for him. But for some reason, they've got Higgins and Noel, and they threw the ball 13 of 40 passes to Hutchinson and Kirk. You're 3-5 guys. You might as well get the young guys involved. We'll see if they make that change moving forward. Right now, Hutchinson's seeing too many snaps and touching the ball too much. He's not a long-term answer, but that's the way the Texans are playing it. Atlanta fell to the Patriots. Patriots moved to 7-2. Atlanta 23, Patriots 24. I was joking with the guys yesterday. Did Michael Penix throw 3 or 4 passes like 8 feet? Just chucking the ball at guys' feet so he doesn't get hit. I am not impressed at all by Michael Penix. He had 3 touchdowns yesterday. Last 3 games, he's averaging like 235 yards passing, completing like 59% of his passes. Only has 2 games this year where he has 2 touchdown passes. I'm just not impressed. Bijan Robinson, who averaged 100 yards like the first 5 games on the ground, is averaging like 50 yards the last 3 games now. They've stopped running the football effectively, which is really weird. He did catch 8 passes. That is now 3 of 4 games for Bijan, whatever you say his name. Bro, as Jeff Mans calls him. 3 of 4 games where he's caught at least 6 passes. So he's continuing to obviously maintain his fantasy value because of his pass catching, but the running attack is kind of stuck in the mud. 3rd time in 4 games that Drake London, who scored 3 touchdowns yesterday, had 8 catches for 110 yards and a score. He is the only game in town when it comes to pass catching. The only game in town on the ground is Bijan. Tyler Algiers got like 11 carries in 3 weeks now. They stopped utilizing him too on the rushing piece. There you go. And Kyle Pitts, 4 catches for 38 yards. Catches 4 passes every week. Only has 1 touchdown though, so he's giving you anywhere from 7 to 11 points each week. But at least there is some consistency with Kyle Pitts. On the Patriots side of things, Drake May, another strong game, 2 touchdowns. and an interception. Did fumble, though. They still won the game when it all said and done. That's what matters. Always in control. Unlike Michael Penix, Drake May is always in control. If you watch these two guys yesterday in this game, even though it was only a 1-point game, totally different feel. Not only is May more athletic and more explosive, you just get the sense he's in control. Penix looks like he's rushed and harried and trying to get things done. Interestingly enough, in the backfield, we had Rhamondre Stevenson out with the toe thing, whatever it was. Jennings, 11 carries, he got a touchdown on the ground. Disappointing. He happened to be on the field during the series where they got to the goal line, and he took a ball in from 3 yards out. Trevion Henderson had 14 carries for 55 yards, so he was the more effective runner overall. He also caught 4 balls for 32 yards. So he had 18 touches, which is a really good number. Unfortunately, he didn't get in the end zone, so it was a very moderate fantasy day, and it always, again, stinks when the backup running back gets a touchdown. But this was a positive effort for Henderson. Now, of course, we don't know how much time Stevenson's going to miss. The team was reluctant to share that information last week, so we don't have an answer. But for now, Henderson is clearly the running back one of this team, though. Just like they were doing with Stevenson and Henderson, they don't seem committed to just one guy leading this backfield. They still use Jennings. He had 12 touches yesterday. But again, Henderson at 18. We'll have to continue to watch the information when it comes out in terms of Kashawn Boutte, who had the one target, didn't have a catch yesterday, left the game with an injury. Demario Douglas, 4 for 100 and a touchdown. He didn't play 20 snaps. So be careful you're going for the Demario Douglas stuff. He's just not on the field. But he had a huge game yesterday for the Patriots. The Niners defeated the Giants 34-24, and I'll say it again, Niners moved to 6-3. A lot of smoke and mirrors here, a lot of obfuscation, a lot of misdirection. The Niners moving to 6-3, got to give them mad credit because they can't get healthy. I don't know why the Niners didn't put Brock Purdy or Ricky Pearsall on the injured list. Obviously, in this situation with both these guys where they both missed 4 games, if not more, could use the roster space. They didn't do it. We're still getting Mac Jones out there. Mac Jones was very effective yesterday. 2 touchdown passes, only threw 5 incomplete passes. The offense is Christian McCaffrey, who ran for 100 yards yet again. 5 catches, 67 yards in the touchdown. Another massive fantasy game. But so let's say it this way. To date, our expectations of Christian McCaffrey have been exceeded. Why? Because he catches 5, 6, 7, 8 passes every game, right? We did not have McCaffrey as a first-round pick in fantasy this year. Halfway through the season, which is where we're at right now, it's been totally wrong. If I'm a McCaffrey owner, I don't want to do a victory lap, though, and here's why. Because McCaffrey has been fantastic, you get a false sense of you maybe forget the past, the injuries, all that kind of stuff. But worse than that, this is an aging running back with tons of tread off the tires, tons of injuries in his background, and dude touched the ball 33 times yesterday. He is going to die. McCaffrey's not going to, it's not even, is he going to make it through the season without getting an injury? If he's touching the ball 30 times a week, which is basically what the Niners have to do right now to win football games, he's going to die. Like it's just, it just doesn't work. So you can love the performance you're getting it, love the production you're getting it. Is he going to be around come fantasy playoffs? He won't if they continue to give him the ball this much. It just doesn't work that way, right? But another huge game for him. Juwan Jennings got in the end zone. George Kittle has no ceiling at all with Mac Jones. That will change appreciably when Brock Purdy is back. Seems likely, I'd say it's 60-40 that Purdy plays this week, the next game for the Niners. With that, I think it would really open up the offense, especially for George Kittle, who has been a disappointment to this point. On the Giants side of things, Jackson Dart, this is why running quarterbacks are so valuable in fantasy. 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay. Ran for 8 times for 56 yards and a touchdown. Getting a rushing touchdown every week. And this just, you got a QB1 going, basically. Does he take over games? Does he win games? Is he producing big, huge? No. But he's running for 50 yards and a touchdown every week. I mean, it's the old Justin Fields thing. It's the same. So you're getting everything there with Jackson Dart if you picked him up. Darius Slayton dropped the touchdown pass. He led the team with 5 catches for 62 yards. Could have been a nice game instead of just a decent game. Wendell Robinson turned 11 targets into 46 yards. Whoopie-doo. Theo Johnson had a touchdown, ran a guy over. That was really nice. Also dropped the ball right in his hands. 3 catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. Theo Johnson has to score a touchdown or he's useless. He's the quintessential pivot to tight end when I have an injury or a bye week to fill. But it's anywhere from 5 to 12 points, even when he's scoring touchdowns. Like yesterday, he didn't even get to 12 points in a PPR setup, even though he scored a touchdown. I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. This is what we do every Monday. Please tell a friend, spread the word, free show, all that kind of good stuff. We'd love it if you go to FG and subscribe, clicking that subscribe tab in the top right corner. But even so, it's nice if you could spread the word a little bit about the show, get the numbers up. We would appreciate that. Let's move on to the Colts. And this has been a very interesting scenario. I've had Daniel Jones on my Dynasty League team. We've talked about this a lot. I've had Daniel Jones on my team for years. And we redrafted this season. Started from fresh, 12 teams, 50 roster spots, full NFL rosters, all of that. I figured I'd take Daniel Jones as my quarterback 3 this year. And I did. Drafted him in the 33rd round of the Dynasty League. Before yesterday against that Steelers team, he's been fantastic. He's been in the MVP consideration, right? Well, the Colts fell to 7-2 yesterday as the Steelers improved to 5-3. Steelers won 27-20. And Daniel Jones, hey, man, he threw for 342 yards and a touchdown, and he had a rushing score. He also threw 3 interceptions and lost 2 fumbles. He had 5 turnovers. Now, I know a lot of people watching this, a lot of people, and Ethan's asking, are the Steelers back in play? Yeah, the Steelers defense is absolutely back in play. Let's see, where do we have them ranked? We had them ranked 12th this week, I think, which is pretty good given the fact that the Colts led the league in points and yards per game coming into yesterday, which they, of course, they got their yards. They got 40 yards of offense, but they only had 20 points. 5 turnovers for Daniel Jones, and now the concern creeps in. Each of the previous 4 games, I believe Daniel Jones had thrown at least 2 touchdown passes. Everything was going right. Team was 7-1. They were rolling. Yesterday brings back all the bad memories. I don't know if it's Sam Darnold seeing ghosts, but it's 5 turnovers. So it'll be very important to see Daniel Jones next time out. Do they change the offense at all? Do they try to protect him at all? Is it a one-off, or does he lose a fumble and throw a pick again? This has been an issue for Jones, right? He's been spectacular given expectations. He's been fantastic. He's a quarterback 1. But yesterday was a very troubling outing for him. Downs got in the end zone for the 3rd consecutive game. Note, he still hasn't hit 60 yards in a game this season. Alec Pierce has like 28, 29 targets the last 3 games. 13 targets yesterday. Like, they threw the ball 50 times in comeback mode. So they'll never throw it again 50 times this year. But Pierce is catching 4 passes a week for 75 yards. He's not getting in the end zone, right? So he's got no volume. He's got all the yards. Downs is getting in the end zone, doesn't have the yards. And then you got Michael Pittman, who does both. 9 catches for 115 yards. Just stellar. On the Steelers side of things, Steelers won. And Aaron Rodgers continues to play the quarterback position the way they want it to be played in Pittsburgh, which is to avoid turnovers. And you do that, give the defense a chance, you win games. And they did it yesterday. Jalen Warren got in the end zone twice, which was great to see. He also did absolutely nothing on the game. He had 18 touches for 29 yards, which is awful. 18 touches for 29 scrimmage yards is pathetic. Got in the end zone twice. But the real issue here for this team is when they are ahead like they were yesterday, they were up 27-10. That was it, right? I mean, they were, what was it, 24-7 a minute into the fourth quarter, excuse me. So the game was essentially over then. So they just sat on it. And, DK Metcalf had 2 catches for 6 yards. Calvin Austin had 5 for 56. Roman Wilson made a nice catch, let the defender for a first down, fumbled the ball. So I don't know if he's back in the doghouse or not. But the bottom line is here, we threw the ball 6 times to him. There were 12 passes thrown to the wide receiver yesterday. 12 of 35. So not even a third of the passes, or just barely a third of the passes, Ray. Your math is not good in the morning. Barely a third of the passes went to the wide receiver for this team. But Washington had 6. Freiermuth had 4. Smith had 5. So what is that? 5, 6, 4, 9, 15. That's 15 targets to the tight end. 15 targets to the tight end, 13 to the wide receiver. Really not good for the offensive side of things for the Steelers. The Chargers had a tougher game than expected. They fell behind 7-0 to start. They were actually down 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. They ended up winning this game 27-20 over the Titans, who fell to 1-8. Chargers improved to 6-3. I mean, Justin Herbert on my dynasty team. Justin Herbert, 9 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown. He had a 29-yard run. Much like Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes and Herbert both on my dynasty team, by the way. I think I took Mahomes like in the 4th or 5th round, and I took Herbert like in the 10th round because he was still there. I'm like, someone's got to take Justin Herbert. Fine, I'll take him. Actually, let me pull that up. That sounds quite annoying. So you're wondering, Ray, how do you it's a dynasty league again. Remember, this dynasty league team is 50 roster spots. The league has been around for 10 years now. We played for a long time. Mahomes was my 4th round pick. Justin Herbert was my 11th round pick. It's like, look, Justin Herbert's sitting there in the 11th round. Pick 125 in a dynasty league. But he just like Mahomes, both these guys using their legs more than anticipated. Again, 57 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Herbert also threw for 250 and 2. Great game for him. The problem is it wasn't a great game for the pass catchers or the runners. This was a Josh Allen-like effort from Herbert. A lot of times you see the Bills win games like the Chargers did yesterday, where not a lot really happens with the offense, but they win a game. And Allen does everything. Well, Herbert did the same thing. 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards of offense. Gatson had 5 for 68, another strong effort for him, but he didn't get in the end zone. Loud McConkey, 4 for 56, really disappointing. Quinn Johnston, 4 for 53 and a touchdown. He actually used his hands on the touchdown. Did you see it? He used his hands, made a nice catch. His hands, not his chest, not his shoulder, not his face, his hands. He used his hands to catch a pass. It was actually a nice catch in the corner of the end zone. So he got in the end zone. Keenan Allen, 2 for 41, did nothing. And then Matlock, the 747-pound fullback, with a 2-yard touchdown grab. So this was and on the ground, Kamani Vidal, 12 carries for 30 yards. They just, Patterson was more effective on the ground, but Vidal is still the running back to own here with this team. It was a game flow scenario. They had to change things up here. Oddly, falling behind again to the Titans, which was not anticipated. Vidal should have been set for 18 to 22 touches yesterday and 100 yards and a touchdown. Didn't happen because of the way the game played out. Already had a question about him this morning in Discord over at fantasyguru.com. And remember, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. You can get access to all the Discord rooms, whatever package you sign up for. And right now, if you sign up for the all-in NFL package, which includes college football, remember you get DFS, seasonal, and betting. You get all the Discord rooms there as well. I had a question about Vidal. Ray, Vidal, I'm going to make a trade to add Vidal. It's like, well, remember, when Omari Hampton is back, and he is technically eligible this week from that ankle injury, we don't know when he's going to return. But when Hampton returns, Vidal goes to being a nobody. Like, Hampton's going to touch the ball 18 times a week when he's healthy. And Vidal will be touching the ball 6 to 8. So be cautious you're not planning on Vidal doing something to help you out here in the playoffs. If Hampton can get healthy and back on that field, Vidal is not going to be a thing for the Chargers. The Titans suck. Now, they almost won a game yesterday. At least they were in a game. Yeah, the Chargers kind of pulled away late. But they were up 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. Cam Ward, 145 yards. This offense has got nothing going. Chimere DK, who people unfortunately I know played this week, 1 catch for 5 yards. Had a 67-yard punt return for a touchdown, but that doesn't count for most leagues. DK not involved in the offense. Ridley inactive because of health. There's rumors that he could get dealt. I think he probably does get dealt. Io Manor, 3 for 46 yards, was their leading receiver. On the ground, Pollard and Spears shared the touches and the snaps yet again. Neither one did anything because the offense stinks. This offense is just not good, period. And hard to really envision it getting better the rest of the way, which is really disappointing. Cam Ward, hopefully the second half will be better because he's, again, offensive line, skill position players around him, play calling, game flow. Like, I understand all this. But Cam Ward is not minus 3 plays a game. Look like a number 1 overall draft pick. Like, he just hasn't. It's not been impressive to this point. The Rams defeated the Saints 34-10. That was an impressive victory for the Rams. On the Saints side of things, Tyler Shuck, was fine. And the problem with the Saints, and this is a question that was asked in Discord earlier today, if Alvin Kamara gets hurt or gets traded, and there are rumors that he's possibly going to get moved, even though he said he doesn't want to get traded. I kind of doubt they trade him because he's been there for a decade. He's the face of the franchise at this point. But if he gets hurt, Devin Neal is going to be the guy everyone's going to run to the waiver wire for. Note that he's already the third down back. I think he's played like 15, 17 third downs the last 2 weeks, and Kamara's played like 5. Like, I don't really know what they're doing here. I don't really know what the plan is. They're 1-8. Maybe the plan is to get the first pick. But Devin Neal is really the third down back right now. It's not Kamara, who caught one pass yesterday. But this offense is bad. The leading rusher yesterday was Taysom Hill. Tyler Shough was fine for his first game, but again, they don't run enough volume of plays with this offense. They just don't. I mean, they were getting smoked. It was 13-0 right at the start of the second quarter. It was 20-10 at halftime. They fell behind 27-10. Like, they had a whole fourth quarter where they were down by 24 points. They're just not. There's no volume here. There's no consistency here. Shaheed, 5 for 68 on 9 targets. Now, that's 9 of 25 pass attempts. It's a huge target share. Chris Olave only had 4. So for those people that were riding the Olave 5-6 catch, 60 yards every week thing with Spencer Rattler, didn't happen yesterday. There will be big plays with Tyler Shough. But the floor on these guys obviously is really dependent upon game flow and the amount of plays that they can run. And yesterday they did absolutely nothing. I mean, look at this. They ran for under 60 yards and they threw for 176. Like, bad. Just bad. And the person asked me, do I want Devin Neal if Kamara were to get hurt? And it's like, well, as a flex option, maybe. But they gotta find a way to run more volume of plays on offense. They just haven't been able to do that most weeks. The Rams defeated the Saints with that 34-10 score. 2 things here. Well, 3 things. 1, another 4 touchdown game for Matthew Stafford. This turned out to be a wild season for Matthew Stafford, just throwing multiple touchdowns, if not 3, 4, 5 a game. It's just crazy. Puka Nacua is 7 for 95 and a touchdown, 5 for 60 and 2 scores for Devontae Adams. All Devontae Adams does is catch touchdown passes inside the 5-yard line. 4-yard touchdown yesterday, a 3-yard touchdown yesterday. Puka Nacua hurt his ribs, hurt yet again. Still had 7 for 95 and a touchdown, so still a huge fantasy game. But left the game again. He fell on the ball, hurt his ribs. This guy can't play 4 quarters of football. He just can't, which makes his production even more remarkable because he just goes out and every game he's a star. But this is why I personally, as I've discussed with you all on the show, wasn't pushing for Puka Nacua to be your draft pick early because I don't trust this guy to be on the field. He's already missed a game. He got hurt yesterday yet again. We'll follow that storyline. The other storyline with this team is I saw Jeff Mann's getting a little bit of back and forth with this on Twitter. I know there were a couple of questions in Discord. The Rams won a football game against an opponent they were never going to lose to. Okay, it was 13-0 right at the start of the second quarter. The game was over. It was already over. Okay, the fact that Blake Corum saw the ball 13 times on the ground, who cares? Like, people are saying this is a shared backfield. This is not a shared backfield. Kyren Williams touched the ball 25 times yesterday. 25 times yesterday. Even if, theoretically, it's 2/3, 1/3 in the backfield, which it hasn't been for the most of the season for the Rams or for the last couple of years. It's one of the, Kyren Williams always at the top of the leaderboard in opportunities for his team. Even if it's a 2/3, 1/3 split, which is what everyone else does, by the way. You're still looking at 18 touches for one guy. Like, I don't understand. There's no concern with Kyren Williams. He's not losing the job. Kyren Williams not taking over. The Rams were demolishing an inferior opponent yesterday, and so they gave the ball to Blake Corum. Blake Corum is an excellent handcuff, but he's only a desperation flex option. Desperation, because even though he very well yesterday, it was 58 yards, didn't catch a pass, 5.8 points. Whoop-de-doo. So yeah, don't listen to anyone that says it's a shared backfield or there's concerns with Kyren Williams. There's not. Next up, the Jaguars won 30-29 over the Raiders. Raiders had a chance to win this game on the final play. Were unable to complete a pass with a failed 2-point conversion there. The Jaguars are in trouble. They won the game. They're 5-3. Trevor Lawrence suffered for some more drops yet again. They're all kinds of beat up. The most recent, obviously, being Brian Thomas in the ankle. What's that going to look like? Travis Hunter's gone. We know that for at least 3 more games. Thomas got hurt yesterday, couldn't finish the game. De'Ami Brown's been beat up. Like, the receiving core is a mess. Parker Washington, 8 for 90 yards. Like, if Parker Washington is catching 8 for 90 yards on a weekly basis for your team, you've lost. Like, I'm just being straight, you've lost. Washington was a solid pickup this past week. We talked about that. Parker Washington should be looked at as a 4-5 catch, 50-yard kind of guy. So if you played him yesterday, you got a huge return. But this passing attack is in trouble. Another game with Trevor Lawrence, 220 yards and no touchdowns. He had 2 rushing scores to save his fantasy game, but I mean, it's just, there's nothing going on here in this passing attack. Travis Etienne was solid yesterday because he had 27 touches, went over 100 yards from scrimmage. It would be nice to see him get in the end zone, but he didn't do that. Tootin, by the way, got a rushing touchdown. Tootin, another one, just like Blake Corum, another high priority handcuff. If something were to happen to Etienne, Tootin would likely have a very strong second half. The Chiefs fell to the Bills in a very good and entertaining game. Bills won 28-21. Bills moved to 6-2. Chiefs fall to 5-4. On the Chiefs side of things, this is, I mean, it's really interesting. Kareem Hunt is the quintessential get what's blocked and that's it, right? He had 11 carries for 49 yards and a touchdown yesterday, which is a do-nothing effort. If he doesn't get in the end zone, you're getting 6 points. He got in the end zone, you got your double-digit points, fine. But Brashad Smith, even with the opportunity with Pacheco being down, and we're hearing Pacheco likely returns next game after this bye week for the Chiefs in Week 10. It'll go back to being Pacheco probably, then Hunt, and then Smith as the guy that you use when you're up by 18 points late in the fourth quarter. And that's how it was handled again yesterday. Kareem Hunt is not more talented than Brashad Smith. He's not more dynamic than Brashad Smith. He's not a better route runner, pass catcher than Brashad Smith. None of that is true. But he's a veteran. The team trusts him, and they give him the ball in the short yardage situations. So, unfortunately, Smith, who clearly should have had an opportunity to do something yesterday, 3 carries for 7 yards and didn't even catch a pass. So, this is why the random grabbing of the backup running back, which I know everyone loves to do, I talk about it every week here on the show, talk about it every day in Discord. If you have Pacheco, I'm totally fine with you still holding Brashad Smith. If you don't have Pacheco or Hunt, what are you doing? Mahomes, 250 and no touchdowns. 5 yards rushing. A very odd game there for him. Worthy, 3 catches for 23 yards. Marquise Brown had 2 catches, 73 yards, only 2 catches. Rice did his 4 for 80, had a couple of carries, including a touchdown, so he had a decent fantasy game. And I guess 10, 11 points from Kelsey's fine. But this is not a very good offensive performance from the Chiefs. On the Bills side, 2 rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen, the passing touchdown as well. So he got his 3 touchdowns. Didn't even get to 300 yards of offense. So, but they won the game, which was the important thing. Jared Cook went for 114 yards on his 27 carries, a huge carry total for him in this game. Also caught a pass. Very productive effort for him. Khalil Shakir, 7 for 43. Fine, right? And that's kind of a Khalil Shakir game, but no one else on this team had 35 receiving yards except Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid is never on the field. Haas and Knox actually are playing as many or more snaps than Kincaid on a rather consistent basis. The fact is that Kincaid is obviously the pass-catching tight end. Oddly, including yesterday, he only ran a route on about half the passing plays, but he still had 6 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. Like, I'm not saying that Kincaid is not a tight end 1. I believe he is a tight end 1, but that margin is very narrow. There will be very disappointing efforts because A, he's not on the field enough, and B, even when they're on passing downs, he's not always on the field. So that's something to think about with him. But again, he's still a tight end 1, and he gave you a tight end 1 effort yesterday. Finally, Seattle and Washington. Seattle 38-14. This was an absolute annihilation. 28-0 at one point before there was a late touchdown in that first half with under a minute left. The game was over at halftime. Sam Darnold, 330 and 4. Fantastic effort. Torrey Horton, who stepped up with the DNP of Cooper Kupp. 2 touchdowns. Fantastic if you turn to him. Only had 4 targets, only caught 4 balls, but he got in the end zone. Cody White got in the end zone. We don't even know who Cody White is. Arroyo, the tight end. He got in the end zone, though Barner played twice as many snaps and ran twice as many routes and saw twice as many targets. It was Arroyo that got in the end zone. JSN 8 for 129 was totally fine, but it would have been nice to see him get a touchdown. On the ground, another game with Zach Charbonnet doing nothing. Walker did lead the backfield in touches. He had 12. Charbonnet had 9. When you win a game 38-14, you would expect them to run more, right, in the second half? Anyway, a very traditional Seattle setup. And I think since they've changed head coaches, they're like 11-12 on the road. They're killing it on the road. Obviously, on the other side of things, the big story from the evening game is obviously Jaden Daniels and his elbow. Non-throwing arm, good news. Not being called a season-ending injury at this point, good news. Horrible if you saw it. His elbow bent in the wrong direction. Not good at all, as we're all well aware. The good news is that it sounds like at this point in time that x-rays were negative, so there's no broken bones per se. We have to see what kind of ligament damage is done and all that. But there is a chance that Jaden Daniels will be returning before the season is over. Now, he's already missed time, multiple missed times. Here we go yet again. It's too early to say this, but is he going down the Robert Griffin road? I mean, he was special last year with Jaden Daniels, but multiple injuries this year. Awful looking last night. Won't view that if you're squeamish. We are getting further information. Luke McCaffrey has a broken collarbone, and his season's likely over. He was hurt right at the start of the game on the kick return. Terry McLaurin missed a game yet again because Terry McLaurin held out for money and got paid and doesn't play football. It's really messy. Now, Marcus Mariota's fine. He's one of the backups in the NFL that is capable, as we have seen even this year, capable of keeping a team in a game and even winning a game. So at least they're not going to some flunky there, but they're going to be without Daniels. We'll see hopefully later today how long that's going to be. As somebody who has Jaden Daniels everywhere, because I didn't want to pay the price. Didn't want to pay the price for Allen or Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts. In a lot of leagues, Joe Burrow was coming off the board too. So, fifth quarterback off the board, Jaden Daniels. I was like, yeah, I'm in here. Right? I like this build. I'm just dying on the vine here, man. Like the rest of you. So I feel your pain. But yeah, the Commander's really in trouble right now. The lead running back for this team is still JCM, Bill. But Rodriguez is the guy that had the numbers last night. Why? Because Rodriguez did his stuff in the second half. He led the team with 65 rushing yards and a touchdown. It's still Bill's job. It was more of a game flow situation there. The Commanders are 3-6. You don't want to say their season is over, but it's looking like last year's run to the playoffs and success is certainly not going to be repeated this season. Patio Joe said back-to-back champions. Let's go Dodgers. What a game. What a series. Yeah, it's true. It was a great series. Great game 7, great final games. I'll be interested to see. I didn't read a lot of articles when it was over, but I'll be interested to see what a lot of people think. I know some people are going to be very frustrated that the Dodgers, spent over $1 billion on the pitchers they used in game 7. The fact they used 4 starting. Beyond that, because it's money, everyone can spend it. They used 4 starting pitchers: Glasnow, Snell, Ohtani, and who am I leaving out? Oh, Yamamoto, duh. Yamamoto. Kershaw was warming up in the bullpen, their 5th starting pitcher. They almost used 5 starting pitchers in game 7. These 4 starting pitchers in game 7. The world is so different. Yeah, congrats, Patio Joe. Dodgers with that back-to-back championship. First time anyone's done that in baseball since the Yankees did it right at the turn of the century. So there you go. Let's look at the comments here before we shut things down. Up by 4 says Fantasy Arnold. I have Bam Knight. He has McBride and Ferguson. Good luck, Fantasy Arnold. It's going to be a tight one. I don't know. Why do people have 2 top 5 tight ends or even top 3 tight ends? Like, people are just so, it's not a, okay, I get it. I don't know why you would have drafted Ferguson. You drafted McBride in the 3rd round and you're going to take another tight end. I just don't get it. Because Ferguson's ADP was like 10, 11 at the tight end spot. So you don't have to reach for him, but still. Godfrey's 81 says this is the league I won't be in next year. 2-16 traded Bijan and Baker for Jackson, Olave, and Hubbard. Well, Hubbard's not even usable as we saw yesterday, so that's bad. Olave's a fine football player, but in that offense, we talked about him earlier today. Lamar is fantastic. But Baker Mayfield's a QB1 and Bijan Robinson's running back 2 in the NFL. Yeah, that's not a good trade. Godfrey, I agree with you there. Double A says, do we see Ferguson having a good game? How about Marvin Harrison? I'm up 3 in a non-PPR and have Ferguson left. He has Harrison. The change to Brissett under center for the Cardinals and that whole situation has been very weird with Kyler Murray. The change to Brissett, I think, helps Harrison a little bit. Murray and Harrison. Brissett, I think, helps a little bit. Ferguson went from catching 7 passes every week to 1 target and no catches last game. They absolutely have to reestablish Ferguson in this offense. It's a non-PPR, though. Ferguson has 6 touchdowns in 5 games, something like that. He's averaging like 35 yards in that time, though. In a non-PPR setup, I feel slightly better about Ferguson versus Harrison getting in the end zone. I think you're going to be okay there, but it is going to be a tight one for you. Double A. Let's see here. Oh, and Angelo and Andre love Romeo Doubs, who is the number 1 pass catcher for this team. We have said it at fantasyguru.com since the preseason last year, even though everyone tried to make it Watson, even though everyone tried to make it Reed, even though everyone tried to make it Golden this year. Yes, Doubs is the number 1 wide receiver of that team, and he continues to be, including yesterday where he had those 10 targets. Okay, so that's what we do every Monday. We go through all the game action. Starting tomorrow, we'll have the guests on. Tuesday's Armando Mersal. Wednesday, it's Justin Fensterman and Rich Mileto. On Wednesdays, I'm with Jeff Manns on the Elite Sports Show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. That's 2 to 5 Eastern, Monday through Friday. I'm with Jeff on Wednesdays. I'm here with you Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. On Thursday, I return from exile for a day, and I'll be joined by Tyler Beaker. And then on Friday, it'll be me and Russell Clay. All of those guests in the next 4 days all join about 30 minutes into the show, about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We go about an hour from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time here. You then get an hour break, and then again from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern. You want to head over to Fantasy Sports Radio on SiriusXM and listen to the old Jeff Manns show. Hit us up in Discord over at fantasyguru.com. Don't forget, send an email to support@fantasyguru.com if you've got any questions. About the only sport we're not covering actively right now is baseball. Every other sport we're covering, including that MVP plan. The MVP plan obviously is everything but football and baseball. It's on the screen right now. NASCAR, PGA, MMA, horse racing, golf, basketball, hockey. I'm probably leaving some things out. Check it out over at fantasyguru.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. I really appreciate it. We'll be back here tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You have a great Monday. Good luck on Monday Night Football with that game between Arizona and Dallas. And head over to SiriusXM in about an hour to listen to the Jeff Manns Show, the Elite Sports Show, Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Ray Flowers. Follow me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those places at The Ray Flowers. And you can find me hard at work, helping all of you, hopefully, have success over at fantasyguru.com. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.